Hey guys, welcome
Hello.
back to our
Real Love Scenario.
Shout out to all our real lovers out there. We are back
hi.
in action. Happy to be here.
Yeah,
this is my happy place. I'm very
sure.
happy to be here.
Mm-hmm.
I love this real love scenario space and hanging out with our real lovers.
Absolutely. Shout out to all of y'all that sing the song along with us. I've seen that a few times in the YouTube comments. Like, I wait and I sing it right with you. Thank you.
We love that. We love that.
Thank you. We love
Well,
that.
welcome to our show. If you're a first time viewer or listener, welcome. We appreciate you. Welcome to the Real Lover
You
Gang.
in the gang.
Gang.
Stay a while. Subscribe.
Do we got like a set that we can?
No, see, you got nope, don't start because you're gonna mess around and
gonna
throw a real one. And then let's not, okay? We'll figure out something off camera and then we'll bring it back.
Yeah, do a little research before we do that.
For now, let's just do a heart. We know this is safe.
Yes.
This is a very safe symbol. So, but subscribe, please subscribe, like, share if you're new here. Stay a while. We would love for you to become a permanent part of the community.
For sure,
Yes.
for sure. How was your week, Rhonda? Any new exciting things to talk about?
It was pretty good. Nothing really new necessarily, but my mom's birthday was a couple days ago. So I took off work and I spent the whole day with her and she was so happy. I put together a whole little day, lunch, manicures. We went to the museum. I took her shopping.
Awesome.
So mom's my girl. She's a sweet lady. She deserves the world. Lady. So happy birthday to my mom. Happy birthday, mommy.
Happy birthday to her.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes. Well, other than that, usual week.
Usual stuff.
How was your week?
It was good. I can finally make my announcement. If you follow me on Instagram, you know, but I am taking on a new venture, a new job, a new position. I'm leaving entrepreneurship for a little while to go into corporate America. Sort of, kinda.
Yeah, you haven't left entrepreneurship.
No, I still am an entrepreneur, but I guess being a full-time entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
But the position that I'm in is great and it's unique and it aligns exactly with what I'm doing. So basically, I will be running all of podcasting, the entire podcast division for Urban One as part of their executive team. So I'll be a senior podcast, director.
Clap it up.
Of
Clap
things.
It up. Clap it up. Congratulations.
Thank you. You knew for a long time.
Yes. We're holding this thing, but it's so exciting. I'm so happy to see what you're going to do with it. This is dope.
Yeah, I'm excited. For those who don't know, Urban One is is one of the largest Black-owned media companies in the U.S.
Yes.
They're the parent company of TV One, Radio One, Clio TV, iOne Digital, and for those who don't know, Radio One probably owns a lot of the radio stations that you listen to growing up.
That's
for those
right.
in this area, 93.9, WKYS is owned by Radio One. I don't know the one in Baltimore. I think it ends with a Q.
92Q.
Yeah, 92Q.
92.3.
Yeah, so it's like every Houston, Charlotte, Atlanta, and like all the urban stations, Urban Radio One owns, which Urban One owns. And then under I1, it's like Bossa, Madame Noir, Hello Beautiful, Hip Hop Wired. They own that. So it's a huge media company.
Yes.
And I'll be running podcasting for the whole entire thing. So it's really dope, really exciting. A lot of opportunities. And it's going to mean growth for this show too, because I'll still be doing this. And we'll have partnerships with the network. So it'll just be really dope. And I'm excited for this new venture and opportunity.
It is. Newness is so good. It just kind of puts a refresher on your life. And you're like, how I conquered this. So I love the newness of like starting a new project, a new job, new anything. It's always like exciting. I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, friend. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I want to, before we hop into our real life love scenario.
Yes.
Few things. I want to make sure that everybody remembers the vacation experience. Sign up, Real Lover. You get $1,000 off for this month only. You get to join Bree and I in Cabo for a week. It's going to be a relationship retreat, but you get to have fun. It's going to be a great time. So make sure you come out, you sign up. If you have any questions, go to adventureinblack.com or go to their Instagram or DM me on Instagram too. And I'll point you in the right direction. But if you want to have some fun with us, it's going to be great. All-inclusive experience, great resort. Make sure you take a look, sign up.
Yes. And if you're trying to be my bae and take me on this trip, you know where to find me.
Yeah.
Come on.
Rhonda,
we got time.
She'll go.
We got time.
Yeah.
I will go. Yes, I will. If you're treating.
Yeah. And use the code Real Lover and you'll get $1,000
off. Come
there
on.
You go.
Come on, sir.
So I want to read our review. Let's keep giving our reviews. We love them.
Yes,
we
we
want to keep
do.
growing that space. So this is from Swisher Sweets.
Oh.
7. I don't even know. Like normally you could say double 8 or triple 8 or quadruple. This is about 8.
It's just a lot of 8s.
Yeah, it's a lot of
Okay,
8s.
what's up, Swisher Sweets?
The subject is 10 out of 10. That's awesome because they only let you do 5 stars. So we appreciate that. I am 25 years old and recently engaged and discovered your podcast from Don't Call Me White Girl. Shout out to Mona and Don't Call Me White Girl show. This podcast has helped me answer a lot of questions I have being young and in a long-term relationship, and just helps me navigate through difficult situations we have ran into.
Oh, congratulations on being engaged. And that's so dope. Thank you for the review.
That's why we do it. Like,
that's
to be able to help folks.
That's it. That means so much. Every time, it never gets old hearing someone say that. Ever, never, ever.
Ever.
Nope, it never gets old. So thank you, Swisher Sweets.
Thank you so much. And
send us pictures of the wedding or something.
Please, invites. If it's, if you got some destination.
Yeah, we'll pull up.
We'll pull up. And just let you know, you gotta make sure the stuff is incled. Like,
unless it's in the DMV, but
just let us know. Let us know.
Get the crash the wedding.
Wedding crashes.
I've always wanted to do that.
Really, just a random.
Yeah,
it gotta be big though. Like,
of course you can't crash a small wedding. You gonna stick out like a sore thumb. I want to crash a big wedding, like a nice one.
Yeah,
just something super cool and just float through the room and have a good time. It's on my bucket list. I think I'm gonna do it.
That would be a good time.
Absolutely.
I think it's like one of those things. I mean, we know because we're in property management. The closest thing I've ever done to, like, it's fun when you tour places that are competition, but they don't know who you are.
They don't know. Yeah.
So you just kind of make up a persona.
You create
or like make up, who you are.
Yeah,
what
we're
you
moving
do.
here from Dubai. Yeah, we've been abroad for 2 years and just coming back to the area.
just making up stuff.
Whatever.
Just to see the place. And so
one time I lied about my name. And then they asked for my ID, and I was like, "Oh my goodness! I think I left it in the car, and I didn't come back."
Cover blown.
Crazy. As long as I've been in the business, I think at that time I had probably been in the business for like 12 years, so I knew that my ID was going to be asked for. Just I was getting too far into the story.
To the story.
Yes.
One last thing before we get off of this, I used to hate. The one, if you guys watch this show, you know that we talk about this one person that we work with who was just not our favorite person. She had issues. Hansy. She was obsessed with me.
That's going to be her nickname.
Hansy. Yes, Hansy. She was obsessed with me, and she was my boss and supervisor, and she didn't like women for whatever reason, and especially women who I had friendships with, just automatically were,
Hansy was a trip.
She was a trip, but we did that one time, and she automatically went husband wife, and I was just like, nobody believe in this. Like, why would anybody believe this? She always wanted to do that role, and I'm just like, this don't make no sense.
Like, girl, stop, girl. Moving on from Hansy.
Yes.
Let's jump into our real life love scenario. This has been on so many news outlets, blogs, so I can't even cite a specific one because it's been on practically all of them.
Yes.
But Marcus Houston from the group
Immature,
AKA Roger, which, by the way, Immature, that's the first concert I ever went to in my life. Yeah.
He was Batman at that time.
He was
right?
Batman.
Okay.
Yeah. Batman, Romeo, and LDB, Little Drummer Boy. Yes. I had the crush on Romeo. I was never really into Batman. And now I have even more reason to not be into Batman.
I feel like Roger didn't help his image.
It didn't. It was an irritating character. He was an irritating character. But he's recently been in the news because he was doing an interview on, I can't think of what show it was, but he's talked about his wife.
Yes.
Who is 19 years younger than him. So I think when I looked it up, he's 41 today. So she's 22. But they got married when she was 19 and allegedly didn't start dating until 18.
Allegedly.
Yes, but he explains in this interview that he met her before she was 18 and that they were just friends and they didn't start anything romantic until she turned 18. But literally just a year after turning 18, they were married. And, I just think it's very interesting. Such an interesting topic. And he's kind of being looked at like
Creeping.
you creepy. Like it's creepy. Like it's like you were almost grooming and waiting for her to become of age to be with her. And I get it from a legal perspective. Wherever they live, 18 is legal, because in some states legal is 16. It's younger than that. But I don't know, something about it just seems off to me, because I don't believe that he waited. I really, really don't. Once you revealed, again, a fact that we didn't need to know, you told us that you met her at 17. We didn't need to know that part. I don't know. It's weird to me.
So there's a few things with this. Number one, these celebrities and their PR teams got to do a better job.
Oh my gosh.
Because like the information that's revealed that doesn't need to be revealed in order to protect somebody's image, because that's what public relations is managing somebody's image. Even the Jonathan Mayer situation is like his lawyer releasing what he released, thinking that would help the situation is like, yeah, that didn't really help it.
It did not.
It hurt the situation.
It hurt it. Yes, it did.
And we want, if you're touching women or physically abusing women, you need to be held responsible for that. But just from purely a public relations standpoint, these celebrities, whoever they hiring,
it's crazy. Because if I was Marcus, I mean, and I will say this,
interview coaching.
Yes. And I don't know if he's like super active. I know he's become, he's an actor, and, so I don't know what he's in, if he has like this big team. I'm sure he has a team, but maybe he floated to that interview solo or something. I don't know, because if I was his person, as soon as he would have got to going into that, I would have came into the interview like, hey, we need to stop.
Yeah.
We need to stop, because it's not live. This is going to be edited and published later. Let's slow this down. No, we're not. Just we're not doing it. And let me be super clear. I don't necessarily have a problem with the age difference. And, we'll talk about that a little bit later when we get into the actual real love scenario, which is related to this. I don't really have an issue with the age gap. I have an issue with how old she was when they started dating. The age gap is relative to the actual age when it starts, because like Catherine Zeta-Jones and, gosh, I cannot think of her, Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
I think they're divorced now, but they were together for like 20 years. And when they start, and they're like 20 years apart. Mm-hmm. But I think when they first started dating, she was like 30 or 29 or something like that. And he was, 50 or close to 50. To me, that's different, because she's older. She's a woman, truly a woman. At 18, to me, I mean, you are still a teenager. 18 and 19, you're still a teenager.
Yes.
So I can't. That's just.
So for me, I could never see myself doing that.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there's one thing for a physical lust or something like that. That's one thing, right? Mm-hmm. But like actual marriage, that's a whole different thing. I don't know. And I can't judge what people's maturity levels are or anything like this.
Yeah.
So, whatever their maturity levels are, I'm sure they're happy and whatever. But I think it's more, and this is not me taking any side, this is just me deconstructing the situation. And I think that it's a societal thing. Like, just now in this day and age, it's not acceptable.
Yeah.
Because if you go 50, 60, 70 years back, that was very common. Like, even if you look at my great grandmother, who I never got the chance to meet, her having 13, 14 kids, like, she got started early, and marriages used to happen. Like, it used to a lot of times be like a 16-year-old, 17-year-old girl marrying a 40-year-old man or whatever because of the land or the wealth or the different things like that. So at one point in society, that was normal or okay or fine to do. But now it's like we have societal norms, and then there's laws. Like, even if you go to different countries, 21 isn't the drinking age. Right. You can drink a lot sooner. So like, it's just here, it's looked at as wrong or not something you're supposed to do just because the laws that we put in place.
Yeah.
With that being said, not saying it's right or wrong, but I think that, there was a point to where it was okay to do, and that people didn't look down on it and there
as much
on it or anything like that. But I think now, especially knowing the maturity levels of, a man or somebody of that age, you can kind of see like, all right, the age difference. How can you really be compatible in those spaces when you have such a large age difference? But lastly, I'll say one thing that I remember. I don't know if you remember this when you shared an article with me back when we were leasing in that conference room before we opened Highgate. And it was an article that talked about what men valued in women and what women valued in men. And that was such a great article because it talked about how men value the ability to be able to reproduce, beauty, all these things like that. The title of the article I remember actually was like, why you shouldn't date a man more than a year, because it was saying that that's what men value in women. And as a woman, the older you get, the more those things start to diminish. Your beauty, your ability to reproduce, all those things start to diminish. What women typically value in men is stability, security, things like that. And as men get older, they end up gaining those things. So I say that to say is that rarely could I ever see it happening the opposite way. And I know it happened with that one dude who's dating, was he dating Cher or like?
Yeah, he's engaged to Cher. AE, I think is his name. So I think she's like 40 years older than him.
So I know that happens from time to time, but I think most of the time it happens in reverse because of what men value, like aesthetics, look, ability to be able to reproduce. If you have those things, especially if I'm a successful man, I'm like, okay, you ain't got to worry about nothing else. Just this is all I want at this point. And then also, as we get to a scenario, I'm gonna talk about this, but I feel like when you get to a certain age, especially as a man, maybe you've been divorced or had a relationship or something like that. Once you enter into the next thing, you kind of know exactly what you want and you know what you're getting out of a situation. So you're like, I've been through this. Now at this age of 40 or something like that, I kind of know what I want. I know exactly what the situation is. I know what I'm giving for it, and I know what I'm taking for it. And this is just the exchange and what we're doing. So.
For me, he has to go in the creep bucket. One, like I said, because you were kind of plotting on her before she was of age, and he says they met through a mutual friend. What mutual friend do you have at 37 with a 17-year-old? That like, it's weird. Even the additional comments about like, and I don't have an issue necessarily with him saying he prefers not to date women with children because he doesn't have any kids, so that's cool. And the likelihood of you finding that at 37 is slim. Again, understood that part, but it's we have more in common. You have more in common with a 18-year-old than a 30-something-year-old. I mean, even if she was 10 years younger than you, I would say that you probably have more in common with a 27-year-old than a 17-year-old. But if you have more in common with a 17-year-old, I'm just going to go with you're immature because you can only be but so mature at 17. You could be a mature 17-year-old, but that might place you around like 19, 20. You can't be a 17-year-old and function like a 37. It's just you can't. So for him in that situation, like you said, he needs a better PR team, but it is what it is now. We kind of see it and we know it. And hopefully they're happy. They appear to be happy. But I just worry that, and I would discourage anybody from getting married at 19. I really, really would. I just feel like it can become a recipe for disaster. It might seem cool up front, but how many scenarios have we gotten just in the last like month of I'm 28, I've been married for 10 years, 12 years. And now you're in that and like, nah, I ain't lived. I feel like I need a whole phase. Well, you are a wife now. You can't exactly get one. It's just, you jump the broom. You jumped the gun by jumping the broom so early. So I don't know, Marcus Houston. I don't like it, Roger. I don't like it. I don't think we needed to know this part about you. I don't think so. But anywho,
best of luck to them. They both seem happy.
They do seem happy.
And that's the thing too, is like
sis if you need help.
I always respect people, like, and that's not respect just for people who are listening doesn't always mean you agree, doesn't always mean you are okay with something. But I respect people who, number one, are consistently who they are. It's like there's certain people who I got a guess of if you come late every day at 10 o'clock and you're supposed to be here at 9, at least I know you coming late every day. Like there's a certain level of, or even if you lash out or you're like there's certain, I respect people who are just themselves versus people who try to act like something else to a certain extent. And when it comes to, people in their situation who are unapologetically doing something. It's like there's a level of respect. It's like, hey, y'all not backing down from it. Y'all open with it. This is you saying this is
Yeah.
what you
And I
wanted,
mean,
and
at the
that's
end of
what
the
you
day,
wanted,
it's
and
legal.
that's what you're doing, and it's legal. Listen, hey, but
Yes.
With
It's
some of
legal,
the
so we can't tussle but so
conversations,
much.
you introducing a lot of like undue attention and like
It's like,
thoughts that
oh,
go into
you over
certain
there
things.
grooming
So
that girl, but okay, here she will. Let's just enjoy. I hope it works out for the best for
yes,
all parties involved. Yes. All right, let's jump into our real love scenario, which is about age.
yes.
So this is from Tiffany. She says, y'all bear with me. I'm having a big issue with my current relationship. Long story short, my boyfriend is 46 and I am 25. Yes, I know, a bit crazy. Never thought I'd end up with someone so much older than me, but honestly, it makes sense. I've always been way more mature than my age and I've always clicked with older people. When I dated men my age, it absolutely did not work out. I'm happy where I am with him, but our age difference is always in the back of my head. He, on the other hand, seems to worry about it more. He sometimes says jokingly, your mind will change and you'll want something else eventually because you're so young. But sometimes I feel like I'm older than him as I have a very old soul, and he can be a bit of a clown at times, which I do love that about him. So what I'm trying to say is, how do I make him feel confident that I'm here and happy to be here and only he could change that? I've handwritten letters expressing why I love him and why I see a future in all, but it seems like he still has no faith in us. Also, I just want us to both feel comfortable with each other when we go into the world, because of course, sometimes people look at us crazy. He's very young looking, but I still look so much younger. You know what they say, black don't crack. How do we both go about being at peace with the age difference and ignoring the judgment from family members in the world? He says he is at peace, but I know my man and he's more worried than I will feel judged. Lastly, our age difference doesn't have anything to do with money. We both have great jobs working for the same company, so I am not a gold digger. Love y'all, and I'm definitely a real lover. Okay.
Shout out to our real lover.
Hey, Tiffany. Thank you, girl. Thank you for writing in. We appreciate it.
For sure. We appreciate it.
Yes. So let's jump right into it. So they are 21 years apart.
Okay.
21 years apart. So he was 21 when she was born.
Yes.
Do you think that's like a really significant age difference?
Yeah, it definitely is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anything over 2 decades is a long time. I mean, even a decade, like,
yeah,
it is a long time. But even if you think, I'm 29 and I think of even the advancements of technology and where the world is, inflation, like the changes of the world from when I was 9 to now, it's a huge difference.
Huge.
So yes. I do think it's a significant age gap. What do you think?
Definitely. It's a significant age gap. I think, unlike the Marcus Houston situation, I don't know how long they've been together. I don't think she didn't mention that, but it is significant. And I'm not going to say it can't work. And that only comes from like my own personal experience with it. For the most part, I have always dated men that were older than me. Yes.
Which I feel like a lot of women do.
Yeah. But at the lowest age difference, they were like a year older than me or a few months older than me. At the max, it was an 18-year age difference. And it was significant. I mean, it was significant not just in numbers, it was significant in our lives, and our lifestyle. Like, he had 2 kids and I was closer in age to his children than I was to him. Like,
how big you said the age difference was?
18.
18.
Yes. And funny thing, similar to like her guy, he never would say that we weren't going to be together because he was super confident that we were going to get married. And I was too. But he never liked it when I would make the jokes, like, or I would bring attention to the fact that you're so crazy. You graduated from high school when I was born. He would be like, I don't want you to say that. I don't like when you say that. I know, but I don't want to talk about it.
That brings up a different point too that just came into my head, and I'll let you finish on that. But
no, I mean that was really it.
I feel like sometimes women may feel more comfortable poking fun at men versus men poking at the insecurities of women. Like if we were to poke fun at weight or something like that, we would get crucified.
Of course.
But I feel like sometimes it's like, oh, he can handle it. Like that could be a huge insecurity that he has. But it's like, oh, I'm gonna poke fun at it and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, and I wasn't poking fun at his actual age. I would poke fun at our age difference. I would never like snap on him for being older because one, he was very youthful, in great shape, and again was a great man. So I never like teased him for being, 50 when I was 30 or 28. Never, but I would pick fun sometimes at the age difference. Like we were just sitting around talking, or I would be, because he went to school in a different country. So when he graduated high school, he like came back to the States to come to college because he went to a boarding school. And when we would talk about that time, and he might be like, yeah, in 80, whatever, I came back to the States. And I'm like, damn it, you came back to the States in 84? I was one. I would just say that. And he would be like, stop.
I'm taking it to a place.
I don't, because I don't even want to think about that because today you're a woman and I'm looking at a woman. And when you say that.
When you bring it back to that, it's like, oh, I was a whole adult and it was like, you were like this. Like that makes me feel uncomfortable.
It feels creepy.
Yeah, it feels creepy.
Yeah. So when you think 21 years, that is absolutely a massive age difference.
Yeah, sure. And I guess the question is, do we feel like that's a significant age difference, or does it or should it matter, right? Like that's the question.
Yeah.
And I think for me, so first I want to say this. I'm going on this is a little it relates, but it doesn't kind of. It's a little tangent. But it's a pet peeve of mine is that for those people who give advice to people, like things that we do, but especially those people who give advice one-on-one, let's say friends, family members, or anything like that, I cannot stand when people give unsolicited advice without first asking the person what they want. Because it's like, you can't give advice if you don't know what I actually want or what I actually value. Like I've had people try to give me financial advice and it's like, you don't even know, you didn't even talk to me about what I want. You're telling me I should do this, I should do this, I should do this. But you didn't ask me what I actually want out of life, what I value. Like I may not value money the same as you. I may value this different than you. I may value that different than you. You don't know. So first ask me what I want and what I would like, what I desire and what I would like my life to look like before you start giving me unsolicited advice.
Yes.
I'm gonna get off my soapbox. And I say that to say is that with this, I think that there are foundational things in relationships that you can say are wrong or right, or that make a good relationship and make a healthy relationship. So like, the things with building healthy trust and healthy communication, I feel like those are foundational things with relationships.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of things with relationships that there is really no rule for.
Right.
It's just more, hey, if you do this, this is what typically is the outcome.
Yeah.
If you choose to do it, then you choose to do it. But I don't know what you value. I don't know what you want. Like you may be okay with being 40 or 50 and having a partner who's 75.
Right.
And you may still be attracted to that person. That may be your thing. And I can't say it's for me. And I think typically for most people that when it comes to beauty and looks and being attracted to their partner, that may not work, but it could work for you. Yeah. So I can't say that it won't work.
Yeah. Even down to attraction. Like when you say what's valuable, some people don't value physical attraction. That's just not, or it's low on the list. Yeah. Like I don't need to look at you and feel like, oh, wow. I just need to be like, that's good enough. Yeah. Like it's not that. I have a friend that's like that. Like not that she's not attracted to her man, but it's probably like the 11th thing on the list as to why she's with him.
Yeah, it's a balance, and all these there's different ways to balance the scales and putting the appropriate amount on different things. Yeah, and everybody's scales balance differently. What may be 5 things on this part of the scale and 2 things on this might be different for somebody else. Yeah. So when it comes to the age difference, all I can say is that there are some things that we often see when it comes with people who have a difference in age. Yeah. Honestly, the attraction thing is one, because somebody's getting older. When it comes to family planning, that can be a challenge because it's like if somebody's younger or somebody's older, especially, when the man's older, that's not as much of an issue. But also it can be because how did you envision your life? Did you want like the, father to be youthful and playing with the kid or something like that, or it's possible to where your partner could not be here, to see your kid reach 21 or 25 because of their age.
Yeah.
So it's all about how you envision your life and what you ultimately want for your life and what you value. So to say that it matters or doesn't matter is like up to you, really.
It's really up to the two people.
But there is certain things that you should just understand when it comes to these type of situations.
For sure. Like, I did not consider as much as I should have. I certainly considered several things, though. I mean, because we were different in a lot of ways. The age was definitely one of the biggest ones, but just even like how we grew up, where we were from, his father was like a dignitary in Africa, and his mom was American, but lived in Africa. I am from the US. I have American parents, yes, from an ethnicity perspective, I'm sure it goes deeper than that. But I grew up in the inner city. When he lived in the States, he did not, so we had a lot of differences, even down to like our taste in music. In general, I love music and I love so many genres of music. Him, not so much. Like, he can take it or leave it, music in general. But if he does listen to it, it was like jazz and maybe like 3 hip hop songs, where I love hip hop. I love R&B. I could play, 20 R&B songs, even ones from like his time. And he might know one.
Yeah.
He might only know one. He loved Earth, Wind and Fire, but I mean, I could count on one hand. So there were so many differences. He was very settled in his career and what he was doing. He had no plans to not retire from that, where I'm like, I don't know if this is really what I'm going to be doing. So we were super different. I was way more social, while he was kind and he loved people. He could take it or leave it. He's like, you're going to go out and do dinner. I'm going to sit on the balcony and read a book and smoke my cigar and watch a documentary when I'm finished reading the book. Like, we were just very different. And for a long time, it really worked. It was this yin and yang effect, this opposites attract effect. I didn't try to infringe upon who he was, and he didn't try to infringe upon who I was. So that was one of the differences really worked out. And that was one of the most beautiful things about it. We respected the differences.
Well, that's one thing I often see. And I said that earlier when we talked about real life love scenarios, that sometimes with older partners, they kind of have an understanding in what they want, especially, like I said, they've been married before and been through the whole shebang.
And he definitely was divorced.
You just like already know, like, all right, I've been through this. I kind of know what I want.
Yeah.
I understand what the exchange is, with dating somebody younger and what it's going to be like. I just value the time that I have with this person and the time we spend together. But I understand this person might go out with friends and they might do this and they might do that. I understand that I may take on a financial, leading in that space and taking on a lot of financial, responsibilities. It's just part of it, but they understand it. It's like, okay, this is what I want, and I'm fine with it.
Yeah, for sure. And he was also not intentionally looking for someone younger than him. That's just what happened. He didn't set his sights on like, I will only date a woman that is between. Because when we met, I was 31, and he was 49. But the woman that he dated before me was like 47. So she was like a couple years younger than him, so he and his ex-wife was close to his age. So he didn't set his intentions that way. It just happened. I think the issue in this topic sometimes comes in with what you referenced earlier with that article, where like when people set intention, and you obviously can do what you want, right? We all have our preferences. But I think that's when it gets tricky, where you're like, you will only date people that are 20 years younger than you because you assume that they won't be as beautiful if they are 10 years younger than you. Because there are plenty of women, especially, I'm impartial as a Black woman, who, yes, they don't look 21 if they're 41. They certainly don't look 21, but they also don't look 41. They are in great shape, great bodies, don't have kids. Like, this era of 40s and 50s and 60s, it's different. Like 40 when I was a little girl. Okay. Like, okay. 40 today. I watched a video the other day of this woman that was 70 at her birthday party, and I was like, wait. I kept reading and looking like, so who's the 70-year-old? Because it's not this woman in this video. She could not have looked. I mean, to me, she looked like she was like 50, 51. And she's 20 years older than that. She looked amazing.
Some people age like
they
when they
age
get
better.
Right?
Yes.
Like even Brie and I were talking about this because shout out, Rhonda and I are going to be on a podcast stage at AFRAM. That's going to be. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. We're going to announce it so y'all can come and stuff.
But the Isley brothers are like one of the people that are going to be on there, right? And I was, Bree's one of those people who she don't know names and stuff, but like when she hear the song, she like, oh yeah, like Contagious, and then the Isley brothers have been sampled by so many people.
So many people.
So when you hear that song, down, 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 like, or Ice Cube, like, give us some mystery, sweet.
Yeah. Stop. But I have another thing to say about the Isleys, but you go.
But basically, I was like, yo, Ron reminds me of like my grandfather, Pop Dad, and I was like, he is smooth, like old dude, like gray beard, like smooth. And then Bree was like, I want to see what they look like when they were younger. And then when she saw him when he was younger, she was like, like,
yeah,
he looks smoother as like an older dude, like just like gray beard, like real cool, like laid back, like dude. And I'm like, sometimes people do age better. Like sometimes that silver hair, that like silver fox, like you'll look and be like, oh, like this is fly.
Yeah.
And I think
Ron Isley definitely looks better older to me, for sure. But speaking of Ron Isley, and again, even on this topic, Ron Isley's wife is like
younger, yeah.
She's 44. I just looked it up. She's 44 and he's 81.
I think that.
And she sings background.
I think, Tiny Desk, they were like, that's his wife who's singing background.
Yeah. Her and her sister were like, they had a singing group, and I think they still do, but she sings background for him. I don't know if that's how they met, but that's a 37-year age difference.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Go ahead. I'm just going to slide on past that. I'm just going to slide on past that.
But if people are happy and they're in that situation,
whatever works.
But I also think for men, the way you carry yourself, your swag, like how you move, like that matters a lot to women, more than like the opposite. Like a man will be like, yo, nah. Like you just a little too old for me. But the thing is that like you are right when it comes to the 40s, 50s, 60s are different, because there are a lot of women. I'm a taken man, but if I was single, a lot of women in the 40, 50, 60 category
they
that like from an appearance wise, I'll be like, yo, like
damn,
it's called, we could do it. But I would just start to think of like, I want to have kids. I want to do this. I want to do
there
that.
Are other factors.
Like, there's other factors but based off of pure appearance, the J-Lo's of the world, the Megan Goods of the world, like although they are older,
the Sanaa Lathans, Nia Long,
the Nia Long, that's the what they call that. That's that auntie, like
yes, they definitely the aunties,
the sexy auntie who is like, oh, okay, like
I just saw like Claudia Jordan just turned 50, and I'm like, Claudia Jordan looks good as hell.
Shout out to Claudia Jordan.
Yeah,
she's on the Undressing Room, which is on Urban One Podcast Network. So
exactly.
I'll get to meet her in a few weeks, actually.
Nice. Yeah, she looks great, and she just turned 50. So I mean, and it goes both sides. There are men who are aging beautifully, and while no, it has not always been as much of a factor, it's still a thing. Like you look at Puff and Pharrell. Pharrell is a really good example of like, you aging, but it's
him and Nick Cannon on the
slow.
Same like little skin routine or something like that. They take some like elixir or something to where it's like
Method Man. Oh my God,
y'all women go crazy.
Oh God, don't get me started. Because the man look good. Okay, that's wild. Y'all go crazy over Megan Good. Y'all got y'all picks. We got ours. He fine is all hell, but he's also a fitness buff. I'm sure he probably has a great diet.
Yeah.
All these things play a part in how you age. And so when she talks about in the scenario, her 46-year-old boyfriend looks young. I mean, that makes total sense to me.
That is the biggest lie for all those people who are younger, 18, 19, 17, 16. The biggest lie that they tell you when you are younger and that you always believe is that 30 is old, that 40 is old, and that 50 is old. And it's like, no, like I've met 30. I'm about to be 30. I don't feel old at all. I feel like I'm walking into like the a new
Best
life,
time
the
of your
best time of
life.
my life.
Same.
I know people who are 40 who are the most lively, fun bunch of people that I know. I know people who are 50 who are the liveliest, fun bunch that I know.
Absolutely.
When you start in the 70s, yeah, it's like, all right, you probably got more life behind you than in front of you. And then, you know, there's a lot more to consider, but 30, 40, like 40s will probably be some of the best times of your life.
I'm
because
looking forward to it. I've been told that so much. I turned 40 this year.
Yeah.
I've been told that so much that, like, if you thought 30s was great, the 40s are going to be even better. And I'm like, I'm totally embracing it because, one, I also feel like I look good, you know, and I'm not going to say I don't look 40 because I feel like,
what does that
even mean today, right? I know I don't look 18. I know I don't look 19, and I'm okay with not looking 19. I want to look like a mature, I want to look like a woman. I'm not a teenager. But I feel good. I'm healthy. Like, I don't have any issues. Yes, I have more weight on me than I would like. But even with that, y'all can't shake a stick at me. Like, I feel amazing. So I think about myself when I thought about her scenario, right? Like, would I date a man that's 20 something years younger than me? No. Like, I would potentially date a man that's 20 something years older than me, though. I probably would. It just depends on, like you said, what matters to him, what's important. And I can even say in my last relationship with him, we came into it understanding and getting certain factors out quick, right? Like, do you want any more kids? Because I don't have children. I want to be a mother, and I don't just want to be a mother by proximity, like being a stepmom. I want to, like, have my own baby.
Yeah.
Would you want to have another baby? His answer, which I appreciated, was, if I had a preference, no, right? Like, if you didn't want a kid, that would be fine. You would never hear me say, can you please give me a baby? He said, but I love you, and I know that I'm dating a woman that's 18 years younger than me that doesn't have a baby. So of course I would give you a child. But he also was super specific. Like, the child has to be born. You got 5 years, basically. So we were together for 4.5, but he was like, basically, by the time I turned 55, the baby has to be here. Like, so you need to be pregnant by the time I'm 54, because at that point, I know myself. Like, he knows himself. I want to be an active father. I want to be able to run and play with ball and go to this and take them there and blah, 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 blah. By the time they're 18, I'm going to be in my early 70s. I want to still have energy all the way up until they are basically college age.
Yes.
And that was an absolute understanding and an agreement that we shook on. The relationship didn't last, but for sure, there are just certain things you have to talk about that you might assume, and you probably shouldn't, even if you're dating somebody your age. You should still be having these conversations, but it was just more pressing. It was more pressing to know that early on. Like, I even had to ask him, do you want to get married again? Because oftentimes people who have been married before don't necessarily want to remarry. They're okay with having a partner, but they don't want to go through the legal process because a lot of people's divorce is messy. So bad. So they're like, I don't want to go through the legal.
They don't want big weddings. They like, nah.
Yeah, but he was like, I definitely want to get married again. I loved his ex-wife. She was such a good, sweet woman. It just didn't work out between them, but she was very respectful of our relationship. I loved his kids. So it was a great dynamic. And he was mature, and I learned so much from him, but he also learned a lot from me, being in a relationship with a woman that's almost 20 years younger than you. So I think what I had was such a great dynamic, and he also wasn't insecure about being that much older than me, unlike Tiffany's man, who seemingly is either a little immature or he's not really for her. And that leads me to my next question to you. She talks about him saying, like, oh, you know, you're going to get older and you're not going to want me anymore. That's what he's saying to her. Do you feel like that's an excuse, or it's really just an insecurity?
I think that's an insecurity.
Okay.
That somebody can, I mean, it could be both, but I think it's an insecurity that somebody could have.
Okay.
And I think that it's not, in this situation, it's age specific, but I think that it's a situation that a lot of people deal with. If somebody feels like they put on a little weight, they may feel like, oh, like, and I know people who have put on weight, but their person is like really in shape, and that can make you feel insecure. Anytime you feel like there's an imbalance in some way, and you may be the one who's on the side to where you feel like you're making it imbalance, you may start to get insecure about that. Like if, like I said, if you gain weight and your partner's really in shape, you may feel like, dang, like they might leave me because I'm falling off. And that may be due to having a baby or anything like that. If you end up having a drop in income, or your partner reaches a new level of success or notoriety or something, the imbalance, you may feel insecure about that and be like, well, you might end up leaving me because, you know, I'm down here and you're up here. And I don't know, like, it just doesn't make you feel good to have imbalance. And especially you feel like it's at your expense, like you're the one providing the imbalance. So I think that that's a real feeling that he may have. It's like, you know, I know that there's an age difference. And then also, although being older doesn't always mean that you're more mature,
Right.
I do think that there is something to say about living 46 years of life.
Sure.
You've seen a lot. You've dealt with a lot. You've experienced a lot. And in his head, he's probably thinking, you're 25.
Right.
Like, I've been 25 before.
I've been 27.
I've
I've
been
been
27,
29.
I've been 29.
I've been 31.
And I also have seen people at 25, and I know how much things can change at that moment. Like your mind, the things that you desire, the things that you want to experience can just change.
Yeah.
So if you're asking me, am I fully secure with you at 25 that you want to be with me, a 46-year-old? Yeah, I may have my doubts sometimes, because I understand, not even saying that it's you, but I just understand at that age how free your mind can be, and how, like, you know, you may change your mind at times. So I can understand that feeling. And I think it is a real feeling. And that may then lead into his decision not to commit, because he's like, I don't know how this thing is going to shake out because of how young you are.
Yeah.
And it could be all great now, but you could switch up. So I don't know how I feel about investing everything into this, because I don't know how it's going to turn out.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. So I'm a little I would say I'm 50-50. Okay. Like, yes, I think it's an insecurity, and we all have them at times in relationships. Like you said, whenever there's an imbalance, especially if it's a significant imbalance, it starts to make you look at yourself and compare yourself to others or to your partner. Like, you using the in shape thing. It's like it's like if I had a guy who really loved the gym and was super in shape and had practically no body fat. Yeah, sometimes in my head, I would be like, damn. I know he says he's cool with like me like, not being that way. Yeah, like, I don't care. This is my thing. It doesn't have to be your thing. But I would probably feel, you know, so moved to get on that bandwagon. One, so that we can be healthy together and have just more time together, no matter how we're spending it. So if it's the gym, then cool. But I also feel like and this is only because she said, like, she's done things to really try to show him and reassure him that, like, I'm down for you. Like, handwriting a letter, which y'all know I'm a sucker for like old school romantic things like that, because we live in such a digital world. We don't practically write anything anymore. Writing a love letter, people might write in their journals and stuff like that, but writing a love letter to your person, I think that's super sweet. But you wrote a letter to him expressing how much you love him. It sounds like you try to reassure him that, like, it's you, and the only person that could change that is you. I'm clearly aware of your age. And so to get the rebuttal of like, you gonna leave me one day, after hearing that so many times, I would start to feel like that's just an excuse. Like, you are trying to set it up where, like you said, you don't want to give your all because you think I'm going to leave. No, even if I was closer in age to you, you don't know if I'm going to leave you. Like, that's just a possibility of all relationships. We could be the same age, and we could be together for 4 years, and I could up and decide this is not working for me. So I think it just made me think about confidence. And like, confidence is so attractive. I think men find it attractive when women are confident. And I know for a fact that women find it exceptionally attractive when men are confident. And I'm not saying that means you can't express or share that you have insecurities, but when it just comes up too much, it makes me feel like you don't believe in yourself. You don't believe that you are in my life because you're a good person and you're doing what you need to do to be in my life, regardless of your age. My ex never, like I said, he never felt like worried early on. He never felt worried that I was like going to go and find some young hot guy and just run off into the sunset with them. But we also spent a lot of time together. We also dated a lot. We had a lot of really great conversations. And so, you know, I don't know. I feel mixed. I feel torn. I get the insecurity, but I also feel like, bruh, you don't have to keep bringing it up that like, nah, you gonna leave me one day. You gonna leave me. Don't worry about it. You gonna leave me one day. Cause it's like, well, then let's just not do this now.
Yeah, I think it's number one. It's tough because age is the one thing that I feel like you can't control.
Right.
Like if you were somebody who was close in age to me, at least the things that could make it work or wouldn't make it work, I feel like maybe I can control or work on. But if you one day tell me that the age is the biggest thing and that's the difference, then it's like it's nothing I can do about that. Like there's literally nothing I can do about that.
No.
And I think that to your point where you were talking about what were you just saying about I can't remember what
The insecurity or excuse?
the excuse. I can't remember what it was, but the age thing, like I said, that's something that you can't change. And you were also talking about, dang, I missed it. I can't remember what you were talking about, but
That's all I
it was a
remember
good point.
saying. But I don't know. It's because age is when we say age is just a number. In some ways, that's true because you just say you can be 40 something years old and not be mature. So age and maturity are not mutually exclusive. They just aren't. You could be 46 and have the behaviors of a 21-year-old. So yes, you may have lived on this earth for 46 years, but you function like a 21-year-old. So that's when it's like age is just a number. I agree. But there are just certain nuances that you're not going to understand when you're 25. It's just things, even as me thinking I was mature at 25 or 27. Looking back at now 30, I'm 39 now. Looking back when I was 27, I'm looking back at that like, I was mature. I wasn't nowhere near as mature as I am today. And a part of that is not just because I've gotten older in numbers. It's also because I have intentionally focused on my maturation. It's not just because I got older. Because I have met people, I know some people that are older than me. And I'm like, your brain though? It's definitely not. It's definitely not 42. It definitely is. You are still in college, my guy. Like for sure. So I do think it's just a number. And I think in their dynamic, certainly it could work because she is older. But I just fear that she's not necessarily receiving the security that she needs.
I know what I was going to say.
Okay.
Is that when it came to her saying that she wrote handwritten letters, I think it's important to understand your partner's love language because I won't say that doesn't mean anything, but for somebody, if that's not their love language, it'll be like, oh, this is cool. Like, but it kind of goes like unnoticed almost to a certain extent because it's like, they would feel like I don't even need this to feel love. Like I understand that's what you're doing to make me feel love. Cause I've dealt with this and I've talked about it with Bree sometimes or early on in our relationship. I thought I was doing all these things that I felt like was showing my love, but it wasn't doing it in the love language that she received love.
Right.
So I had to, tweak and adjust how I showed love to her in a way that she would receive it. So first you have to understand, I would say in this situation, she has to understand his love language, your partner's love language. Like how does he receive love? It may not be acts of kindness. It may not be gifts. If it's physical, like it may be certain things to where he feels like, oh, if physically she's really into me, then I feel like we're good. Cause that might be the biggest thing is that he's like, all right, is she going to be satisfied with a 46-year-old, like, when it comes to making love and doing stuff like that? But if you show you're very pleased by, your experience physically with him, then that might make him feel more secure. Yeah. So just in that setting or that space, make sure you understand what his love language is and so that you can understand how to communicate your love to him so that he receives it, because that may be a big issue there with
for sure and
committing or insecurity.
One thing I had to learn when I took the love language test, and I didn't learn this until I took it. And I had heard of love languages for years. All of us respond to all of the love languages.
It's a spectrum.
Yes, it's about the weighting, but all of them actually matter to every single person. Words of affirmation just might be fifth on his list, where physical might be first on his list, but they all matter. It's just the ones you have to focus on the most is where they'll feel it the most. I did not know that until I took the test, because when I finished it, I was like 9, 7. I was like, wait, I thought it would just reveal one. And it's like, no, you want them all. You want gifts, you want physical touch, you want quality time, you want words of affirmation, but certain things will just resonate more with you. Whatever the number one is the one that resonates with you the most. So I don't know. I definitely think it's sweet. And I think she's certainly trying. And in his dynamic, I'm almost surprised that it's the opposite way, only because I find that older men tend to be more confident than younger men. I feel like when a man is 46 and he can get a 25-year-old, I feel like, and he's like she said, he looks young, so I assume perhaps he's in shape and all these things. I feel like men in general are confident, sometimes even when maybe we might think they shouldn't be, but certainly when they're older, I feel like, and they know they look good, yeah, I feel like they're way more confident than like an 18-year-old guy or a 25-year-old guy that he might look good, but he doesn't have the security of life to back it up. She said they both have great jobs. They work at the same company. So I guess, like you said, when you're the difference is too significant, the insecurities can creep in because there's an imbalance. The imbalance is too significant.
Yeah, and I think it just could be natural experiences in a relationship where you're realizing like, we got a lot of stuff that's not in common and a lot of stuff that I don't understand. Like you could be talking to her and she may bring up something on TikTok or something that is something new. And you're like, what is that? And who is that? And you see that she loves it, but you not only don't know who it is, you have zero interest in it once you find out. I can care less. Like, so then it makes you think like at some point you gonna get tired of this. Like, and not having somebody that wants to go to this festival or wants to do this with you or want to do that. Because you just feel like that and you start to make those things up in your head. So that's why I say learn the love language to help make that person feel more secure in that situation is important.
Definitely.
But I think that if we round out to this last part, the public opinion part.
Yeah.
Huge part of relationships that people factor into. Have you ever seen the movie Shallow Hal?
I think so. With Cameron Diaz in it?
Maybe. Jack Black was a star.
Jack Black. Yeah, I think so. I don't remember much about it, but I'm pretty sure I saw it.
Got you. So the concept of the movie was that he could only see, like every woman that he saw, he thought was beautiful, but on the outside it may have been like a bigger girl.
Yes, it was Cameron Diaz.
Okay, it was Cameron Diaz. But he saw them as like beautiful. And it was just, it's an interesting concept. I love movies like that have like a deeper meaning or different or bigger concept behind it.
Yeah.
But that was a movie really about like public opinion and then affecting how you move forward and choose with other people, because this may be a beautiful person that you really enjoy, but you are worried about how other people look at you, and that factors into your decision. And I get it. Like we want people to be like, oh yeah, like your person like looks good or that person is fine or whatever, especially when you're younger.
Yeah.
When you get older, I feel like you kind of know this is what I want. I'm good. Like I'm happy. Like this, I've been through it all. I've tried it all. Like I'm good with my person.
Yeah.
And as long as I'm attracted to you, I'm good. But I understand how that influence can play a part.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times like, the family thing is and friend thing is one thing, because sometimes you have people who are trying to look out for you and maybe warning you about like, hey, like, are you sure you want to do this? This is what's going to happen. This is whatever. And that will factor into your thing. But I personally feel like it's just you and that person.
That's right.
What other people say, how other people feel,
it's none of your business.
It's none of their business.
It's none of your business what they feel. It's neither of the other party's business.
And none of your business.
Correct.
You are with this person.
That's right.
This is your relationship. This is the person that you're choosing to spend your time with. Ultimately, it comes down to you.
Yeah.
Because I've seen people from the outside in relationships for people, but I've also seen people from the outside keep people in relationships that they shouldn't be in. because they're influenced by the other
Yeah.
people. And it's like, why are you still in that? Well, my friend, I talked to them, and then, or I've seen situations to where the mom will talk the person into staying, or the parents will talk the person into staying. This is how marriages go through. Sometimes men cheat. It's okay. Like, this is the situation you set up good. Do you want to throw it all away? Because these outside opinions, you are the one in here.
That's it.
Dealing with it all the time. So you got to be good.
And I feel like I agree with you, right? What people think about you or your relationship, it just should not matter to you that much, because it should feel like a bubble. It should feel like this is what matters to me and what we have matters to me. But I find that the people who are often most influenced by outside opinion are people who feel that they're not confident within the relationship. It's easy to let the outside opinions weigh in because you yourself are not even sure if you should be doing this. You yourself are thinking this looks crazy. Like even when she felt the need to clarify, which a lot of times that is the case when there's a massive difference in age and a woman is younger and a man is older, there's this assumption that she's with him because of his money, when she could just be with him because she likes him and she's attracted to him. Is him being financially stable attractive? Yes. It doesn't mean though that he has this influx of money and he's over there like paying for everything. That is not the story. Lord, let me say it to the camera. That is not the story for most people. Most people do not significantly out earn their partners, and therefore their partner doesn't have to financially contribute. Most people are double income households where both people earn money and both people pay bills. Okay, like it's the ones who the man or the higher earner is paying everything. Those, I don't want to say they're the exceptions, but it's a lesser group.
Often.
It doesn't happen that often. So I hated that people let the outside influences so much, because like you said, you've got to be locked in tune and in step with your person to the point where you can't even hear the opinions of others sometimes. I have had to literally tell people that are trying to project their feelings, their unsolicited advice that I did not look for on me, and I've had to say to them, I'm good. I didn't ask for that. I didn't even ask for that. I didn't. Like, of course you're gonna have your opinion. It doesn't mean that it has to be shared.
I tell you, that's my pet peeve. Unsolicited opinions. I can't stand it.
Yeah, it's like
I'm here for you as a friend if you need advice. I'm not going to just randomly, without you telling me
prompting,
you need advice,
yeah.
unprompted, tell you what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
If you need advice, if you want to know what I think, hey, I'm here.
Yes.
Outside of that, I would assume that things are fine, or
They're
feel
good.
like that you can handle it yourself, because that's important. Creating the tools to be able to handle things yourself, like that's important.
Yeah.
But the thing that I want people to realize when it comes to this is that, and when it comes to people sharing or you being influenced by public opinion, is that everybody's always going to have an opinion about you, no matter what it is.
Correct.
Like you could be with this person, you could be with that person, you could be with somebody big, small, tall, light, dark. They're always going to have an opinion.
Doesn't matter.
Who cares?
Doesn't matter.
If you
could look at some of the most perfect relationships, because no relationship is perfect.
Yeah.
Look at what they say about Russell and Sierra. It's too perfect. He is simp. It's corny. It's da-da-da-da. That's problematic. But when she was with Future, it was also problematic. He using her. He got 10 baby mamas. When it was Bow Wow, oh, it's cute, but they kids. It ain't gonna last long. It's like, it's always, you damned if you do, you damned if you don't. So you should just focus on what you want. Yes.
Exactly.
Just do you.
I feel like Brie and I are in a relationship to outside looking in, that I feel like Brie and I seem to be somewhat balanced. Like we both are entrepreneurs. We both, I feel like, are both attractive couple and stuff like that. But people still have an opinion. Yeah. People still think that maybe, with this situation of me getting a new position and stuff like that, or people seeing where I am now versus where we met, they may think, oh, she's only with him because of X, Y, and Z and because of this and because of that. And it's like, oh, you didn't know I didn't have a following when Brie and I met. I wasn't a social media person. I was working in an office and property management. That's when we met. And she was an entrepreneur. Like you didn't like, you don't know this.
You don't know it.
But people are going to have opinions. And it's like, who cares? Like at this point, that's why certain people,
you'll kill yourself.
Like certain people even, and I'm not saying that I endorse this person or what they do, but the people like, let's say Kevin Samuels, or people who take strong opinions in a certain direction, I'm like, you're controversial, but
you standing on
you
it.
standing on it, because if you try to play the middle, people still ain't gonna like you.
Don't matter.
So you might as well just stick with what you feel like you is your thing, and what you feel like is your mindset.
Yeah.
And you stand on it, and you're gonna have some people who love you for it,
Yep.
and some people who hate you for it. But
Such
if
is
you try
life.
to be this person who plays the middle or try to make everyone happy, number one, you're gonna drive yourself crazy.
Yep.
But guess what? You still gonna lead with the same outcome of people not liking you. There's gonna
And
be
that's
people who won't
such
like you.
an irritating conversation in a relationship. Like, you ever dated someone and they start to like bring home what other people are saying? Like, I don't care. Like, especially if it's like you coming to me because it's bothering you.
Yeah.
Not like you just telling me just like, you babe, it's so crazy. You know, so and so said that we only together because, or they think that I'm lying or whatever. If you're coming to me and you're saying it lighthearted, cool. But if you are actually bringing what someone else thinks about us home in like a serious way, like, you know, my mom just really thinks that like you're too old for me and it's really driving me crazy. I'm going to be looking at you like, why? When you and
Yes.
I have something good and healthy that we love.
And I want to make a distinction between the difference. So we're talking about people from the outside saying something that influences what we have here when
Yes.
things are good. There's a difference between being in a relationship and you feeling uncomfortable with what something your partner is doing or partner is saying,
That's
which you
right.
feel like is perceiving the relationship to be something else.
For sure.
So if it's like you go to your partner and you're like, hey, we were talking, the way you said something, like, I don't like how it comes off. It comes off as if
Yeah.
like I'm this or I'm that, or like we're this or we're that. Or when we're talking to people, when we're having a conversation, I'd rather we not share X, Y, and Z
Yes, yes,
because
yes.
of how it can be perceived. It's not saying that like it goes back to the beginning of the episode with the Marcus Houston situation. It's not saying this isn't our reality, but I feel like we don't need to share certain parts of our reality
Yeah.
just to have undue criticism when there is no reason for the undue
Yeah,
criticism.
yes, yes.
So that's a difference, because I've dealt with Brie and I've dealt that with in our relationship, and you realize that when you're with somebody that although something may be true and a true part of your relationship, you don't want to say certain things, or you rather it be framed in a certain way because you don't want there to be a certain perception of you and your relationship. That's one thing, versus outside people just saying stuff
Just
that know
projecting.
anything
Yeah.
and projecting, and then you're bringing that in a relationship and acting like that's an issue to when you don't even have an issue.
Yeah.
You're just doing that off of people from the outside. So I just wanted to make that distinction.
Yeah, because
it
there is a
different.
big difference. Even when I think, and then I'll, get to my final thoughts on this, but like even with you, like I've had people say to me, he lying, he cheats. All
yeah.
just because, one, perhaps a lot of the men that they know cheat, and because you're attractive. So they just inherently think that that's like mutually exclusive. Like, it's no way that this black man who looks the way that he looks doesn't cheat. I know that's what his mouth is saying, but he totally cheats. And it's like, how can you just cast that judgment on someone? I get projection. I do. It's not okay, but I understand where
Yeah.
it comes from. But if someone is saying, I do not cheat on my wife, I have no desire to cheat on my wife, why must you challenge that? You don't actually have proof that they do. So what would you be basing it on? It's no different than if you said, if you walked out of a store, or no, you're walking around in a store and an associate walks up to you and they said, you stole lipstick. And you're like, no, I didn't. Yes, you did. Well, what proof do you have? None. I just feel like the last person who stole lipstick looks like
Look
you.
like you.
That's crazy. That's you can't do that. So that kind of leads into her. I think her overall question is really just to how to build confidence and assure her partner that he's the one for her. And I just think it's more communication. We talk about effective communication so much. Most of our episodes really come down to that. It is spending time with him and kind of digging deep into those insecurities. Is it something that you're doing that is maybe exacerbating it? You may not realize it. It may be very subconscious. You don't mean to be doing it, but maybe it is something that you do that makes him think you're not necessarily serious, although that's what you say. It's also maybe there's just a closeness or intimacy situation that's happening. Not just sex, but just something in the intimacy realm that may make him feel like you're pulled away or you're withdrawn. But also he needs to do work on himself, because you should not be with someone who you are not confident is with you for you.
Yeah.
You have to if you're not confident that this woman is about you, although she shows you she is and she reassures you she is with her words and her actions, then that's a you thing. And I know he's not the person that wrote in, but should she share this with him, it's like, my guy, you have to figure that out, because no one wants to be with someone who is constantly reminding them that, like, you're going to leave me one day. You're going to leave me one day. It's just, it will make me feel like I can't win, because what else do I need to show you that I don't want to leave you? In fact, that is what's going to make me leave you.
Exactly.
That's what's going to make me want to walk away from you. So I just think it's spending more time like in communication and trying to uncover where the insecurity is actually coming from. Because it may, like you said earlier, it may not be because of the age difference. It may be because of certain behaviors or conversations that you're having or either not having that's bringing that out in him.
Yeah, I agree with you. Communicating is the big thing.
Yeah.
And I would approach it in that way. Like, I'm the type of person that will like sit somebody down and say, like, listen, this is a lot. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna give it to you like this. I love you. Mm-hmm. I want to be with you. I don't care how old you are.
Yeah.
You are my person. I want to be with you. Mm-hmm. In period, point blank. Mm-hmm. If you had any question, unless you don't trust me, I'm answering for you right now. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah.
The only thing that will start to break this thing apart is if you act insecure about that. Like, mm-hmm. I don't care what other people think. Mm-hmm. I don't care how other people feel.
Right.
I will defend to the world, shout it out on the mountaintops, you my man. Mm-hmm. That's it. Like, that's it. I'm telling you this. That's all you need to know. Mm-hmm. So forget about everything else. Mm-hmm. Like, we good.
Yeah.
And if you, like you said, if you continue to act like this or say these things bother me, and I feel like they impact our relationship, because I feel like you say them because you believe them.
Yeah.
And I'm here to tell you that's not the case.
Right.
We good.
We good, baby. I love you.
I love you.
I'm with this. You are it for me.
Exactly.
You're it for me until, and I loved it that she said, the only person that could change my feelings toward you are you. Only you could do that, because I'm into this. So as long as we on the same page, we're locked in. Ain't no switching up. Like the guy said. Like, I can't think of his name. Sorry, the guy who sings that song. But yeah, like, just figure that out. Definitely figure that out. But we so appreciate you, right? And then wishing you all the best in this situation. Don't worry about what the people say. Just try to lock in with your boo.
Don't listen to what people say.
Shout out John B. We interviewed him last year.
About you and me. Out your mind, cause jealousy, they don't know about this. There's a song
we going
for
on tour.
Everything.
There's
a song for every situation.
Every situation. From the nicest and sweetest of situations to the messiest. So you know what came on last night? I swear, every time we talk about music, we can go on a tangent. Tank song about I deserve.
Maybe I deserve for you.
I was just listening to all the words like, damn, this man really sang a whole song about deserving to be mistreated because of all that he's put her through. I appreciate the accountability and the honesty, my guy.
And then you got division on the other side. If I ain't got cheating,
that don't mean I don't love you. It's so wild. It is a song for every situation, literally. Wow. But Tiffany, again, thank you so much for writing in. If you have a real love scenario and you want to write in, go to our website, relationshiprestore.com, hit the contact button, and you can write into our show or any of the shows on the network. Follow me on Instagram at Ronnie Cakes.
As Dre Smith.
And definitely follow Relationship Restored on all platforms. We're on TikTok. Make sure you follow us over there. Mm-hmm. And we'll catch you next week.
See ya.